Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuckaway Pines. Today I am out in the yard because I wanted to film our end of the year catch-up video, kind of bring you guys up to speed, kind of do a quick synopsis of just a little bit of everything that we've done this year. This was the year of the garden for us, and our first official year on our new property, and I figured I'd fill you guys in on all the fun we've had. So if you guys haven't been following along with us for a while, first things first, go subscribe so you don't miss out on anything else, and so you can go and back watch all the fun stuff we've done this past year. I have plenty of videos out to give you highlights of everything, but definitely hit that button so you don't miss out on our future fun that we're going to be having in 2024. But for the year of 2023, we've been pretty busy. As far as the winter is gone, not much. I mean, you can kind of see this is the end of December, no snow. All we have is frost. And mind you, it feels like winter. It's probably, what, 29 right now? 30 maybe? With the sun out. Not a cloud in the sky, so it feels really beautiful. And that's why I thought I'd film outside today for you guys. Anyway, 2023 has been pretty busy for us. First off, this was the year of the garden. I had constructed a very large garden. You can kind of see it behind me. Very, very huge garden. Constructed that to grow all our food, or at least most of our food. And even built a strawberry patch, which is actually right over there where Brick is standing. And we have actually a couple elderberry patches. We have our raspberry patch going in. We even have a currant patch as well. But I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, because I want to kind of start in the beginning because I'm going to kind of lump in when we first moved in here with the year of 2023, sort of. Because we moved in here from Milwaukee to northern Wisconsin in August of 2022. And it was kind of in the middle of the season, so we didn't really want to dive into anything, more or less just move in and get ourselves situated. But I thought it would be a wise idea to jump the gun and construct my garden. And it's not what it looks like today, I'll tell you that. I had some T-posts and the fencing you see here all around. And it was actually a little bit longer than you see here, but with 2022's winter, we did get a lot of snow, believe it or not. And for plowing purposes, I had to shorten my garden because it was interfering with our well and stuff like that as far as the snow removal goes. So, like I said, I thought I was gonna be proactive and build my garden, but it wasn't strong enough. It wasn't strong enough to handle our winters. It wasn't strong enough to handle the food that I was wanting to grow in it, and it wasn't strong enough to protect the garden or like the food itself from the woodland creatures like deer and rabbit and stuff like that, because they could easily just blow right through there and devour everything they wanted. So the spring of 2023 was when we beefed up our garden, and I actually have a couple videos of our garden when it first was built, the prototype if you will, and then I have a few videos out of us beefing up our garden. And I think I have a compilation video of the before and after from when we started to where we are today, so definitely go check those videos out. And yeah, it just pretty much was the year of the garden. Everything was primarily focused in there. We do have a few flower beds we were maintaining as well, a couple herb gardens. That's up for future development, so stay tuned for that. But definitely got that going. Grew tons of food, preserved a lot of it actually. I was really excited with all the preserving that I was able to do. Because being in the city, I was able to do some preserving, from the farmer's market and my little garden in the backyard and stuff like that. But I never had preserving on this scale, and it was really exciting. It was definitely a challenge, but I'm always up for that challenge. And yeah, it was really good. Put a lot of food up on the shelf. Hopefully next year I'll be able to do a lot more preserving. That way I could show you guys kind of more of the preserving side of things. I know I mainly film just the garden and our harvesting and stuff like that. So hopefully this year I can focus more on that, the preserving side of things, show you guys what I do, how I do it, all that fun stuff. But primarily, in a nutshell, we've just been establishing our roots, you know, getting familiar with the area, the meeting people, getting connected, because having people out, especially up here in the North Woods where you can't just call a service, or you might not be able to call a service, or the service might not be able to come out to you, or whatever the case may be. You might need something from someone, or whatever, you know, anything can happen up here at any time, you know, unexpected or expected. And it's always nice to have a friend, know your neighbor, things like that, you know, that you can call and rely on and depend on when you truly need it. Because being out here, help can be, you know, it could be an hour away, or even driving to the hardware store, you know, that can be an hour and a half away one way itself, you know, and that's time and fuel and resources that people might not have or might not be willing to exhaust when you have an option that's much closer, much more convenient, and much more willing to be helpful. So we've been trying to get out in our community, get to know our you know, neighbors, friends, and stuff like that. You know, kind of have a good repertoire with everyone up here. That way, you know, if we can help them, they can help us, kind of thing. It's always nice to have that. And just establishing our roots, essentially, just kind of getting our foot in the door. Still setting up the house. I mean, we're all moved in and all that, but you know, as far as decorating and some minor remodeling stuff. Let's see, I gotta check my little notes here. There's so much to talk about. I don't want to go off track and start rambling on stuff I don't need to. But so things that we expected when we were planning on moving, because this is something that we've wanted to do for a really long time. I've always wanted to growing up. My grandparents lived up in northern Wisconsin. It was always a blessing to go up north and visit. Love being in the woods. I love hunting, fishing. I love, you know, working with the garden. It's all so wholesome feeling. It makes me feel so just genuinely happy and good. And it's right where I need to be, right where I should be, you know, right where I belong. And I think, you know, the world needs to kind of revert back to this, because it's where we started, you know, and I feel like we're losing grasp on where we started versus where we are and where we want to be. So you never want to forget where you started. But anyway, like I said, I'm rambling. But so things that we expected, we definitely expected to grow lots of food, you know, and then in a perfect mind, you expect the perfect growing season or everything just to work out great and this and that. And honestly, for the first year, I can't complain too much, to be honest. Everything that I really put into the ground, especially for things that this was a first time, you know, grow for me, never grown it before, turned out pretty decent. Like, I got a good yield on stuff like potatoes and stuff like that. Never grew potatoes before this year. Turned out amazing. There were a couple things that didn't grow very well, but honestly, like, overall my success rate was pretty good, maybe 85%. Just throwing that up there, because it was definitely a good yield on everything. And as far as, let's see, as far as the weather, though, that's probably the one thing, and that's something we can never ever be able to control, just gotta be able to adapt to it, was how dry it was this past summer. We were in a drought and had to bring out the sprinkler plenty times to make sure nothing dried out and all that stuff. But yeah, otherwise everything did pretty good. So we expected lots of good food, and we did get it. In a perfect world, I wanted to have kind of like a hobby farm, you know, have some chickens, maybe a couple goats, because 10 acres isn't too big for a few cows, especially the terrain that we have, all pines and stuff. I don't think the cows really like that, but I know goats won't mind it. And I've read that they like the buckthorn and all the brambly stuff, which is kind of what we have here. So I think that'd be perfect for goats. And, you know, in a perfect world, you want to just get everything all at once, or within the next year, boom, 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 get everything. But it's really showed us that we need not only to slow down, but to be more patient and to plan more, to plan better. If you think you got something all mapped out or planned out, there might be, you know, something you're missing, or there might be something that you need to do before you can do what you want to do, you know, the baby step thing. But because I know for chickens, because I want to start with chickens and then maybe eventually goats, you know, kind of work my way up. But I need to do the research more. I need to get educated more on breeds and just how chickens operate. Like, I know chickens, I know how, you know, but I just want to be sure that I know what I'm doing before I go ahead, purchase chickens, do all the things, and not have it work out, because that's not fair to the chicken, you know? And that's another thing. I want to make sure I have the money and the supplies for the chickens, their coop, their supplies, their food, their bedding, heating, protection, all that fun stuff. So that's probably one big thing, is to make sure you do your research, know your stuff, get your materials, save your money, and then do it. So that's where we're at as far as the animals go. It's a lot slower of a process, and that's fine, because it gives us time to not make any mistakes, overwhelm ourselves, burn ourselves out, and just kind of do it right. So, but we thought that we could handle the nonstop work, because we knew moving up here would be a lot of work. Just a lot of stuff that always constantly needs to be done, and it's just a go, go, go. And your body, if not your brain, does fizzle out at some point. There is a breaking point, and you can't forget to take your breaks. You can't forget to just take a day off, take a step back, maybe even ask for help. Maybe if you're the one that like wants to do it all or get it all done in a day, ask for a hand to kind of take the load off you. Like, it just goes so much further. I'm that type of person that just wants to get it all done now and do it myself, because I know what I'm doing. But I'm slowly learning to ask for help, show people how things are done, so I know that it will get done maybe a certain way or a specific way. But it's definitely a process. But especially being here on the homestead, it's a team effort. I don't know if anybody can run a whole homestead by themselves without freaking out every once in a while or feeling just like they can't do it. So definitely need to ask for help. And then, keep folding my paper, losing track. Okay. Less stress. We expected way less stress up here. And honestly, I can say yes and no. Definitely a lot less stress than being in the big city, the big city. It's more or less, we have less of the unnecessary stress, and we have, I don't want to say more, but we're able to focus more on the necessary stresses of life instead of the unnecessary stresses of life. We're able to focus on what truly matters to us versus what matters to the world. Because what matters to the world, to an extent, doesn't matter to us down personal level, you know? Like, I could care less about, you know, Kim Kardashian wearing something to this party, you know, or some example like that. Like, I could care less. I need to focus on how my plants are doing. I need to focus on how my bills are doing, or what the case may be. And being up here kind of in my own bubble, it really helps with that. It's a lot quieter. You don't have all that distracting noise of the big city, the sirens, the alarms, and all that stuff. And everyone is different, so that's just my personality. I like it calm, quiet, and cool. So I love it. And it's a lot more happiness. We definitely expected a lot more happiness up here. Like I said, just that unnecessary stress is gone. So what else is there to really worry about except for typical life, everyday human things? So, but living off the land, we expected, we kind of hoped for, to be honest, you know, being able to produce our own food. Like I said earlier, we established a couple of patches. We got an elderberry patch growing that was planted last year, so it's still young. We have a strawberry patch that's behind me. That's actually something I started when we were in Milwaukee, so this is probably 4 years old, these strawberries. So they're second year here, but the plants themselves, at least the mother plant, is like 4 years old, so because they all run and all that stuff. So, and then we planted a currant patch and a raspberry patch, kind of back in the woods behind me a little bit, a few yards in, but we planted that as well. Still young, you know, it needs a few years to establish, but it's there. And we did plant 2 apple trees and some asparagus as well. I almost forgot about the asparagus, but we planted that. One of the apple trees did not make it, so we will have to get another one. We even plan to get a couple more, so that'll be exciting because we've been opening up spots to put more trees. Like I said, we're trying to diversify and clear out the debris and the stuff that we don't need here anymore. So definitely expected that. Definitely something that we learned right off the bat, and especially coming from Milwaukee versus northern Wisconsin, living right off the lake in Milwaukee, weather is so different compared to being a little more inland and north. So a lot of adjusting as far as the weather goes, and you got to consider microclimates as well, because our property is on a hill, but everywhere else around us is kind of lower, so we're expected to have semi-cooler temperatures, especially being buried in the pine trees here. So yeah, there's a lot of things to consider as far as weather on the property, at least. It's got a mind of its own for sure. But we learned that, and again, another thing I said earlier is we can't do it all at once. We can do it all eventually, just not all at once. So, you know, being able to break things down into manageable chunks, set checkpoints, or like, you know, break times during projects, or even setting like time limits on certain things, you know. Like for example, I was actually doing some brush chipping the past few days and my shoulder's been killing me. And instead of just wearing myself out, I said I'm going to give myself the day off. That way I can continue to keep doing it instead of burning myself out or injuring myself further to where I just cannot do it at all. You know, I'd rather miss one day to be able to do it again versus hurting myself to never be able to do it again, you know? So, definitely learning to take a step back, take a second, take a breath, all that fun stuff. Setting routines. Setting routines is a big thing, and systems. That's a really big thing, especially when you have a lot of things that need to get done in a timely manner. You have time-sensitive things, chores, work, whatever. It's nice to have a set routine and a schedule to stick to, and also it helps when you have other people to help you out. That way you can kind of divide and conquer, you know. You take these set of chores and I'll do these set of chores. We'll get them done in 30 minutes versus me doing them and it takes an hour. You know what I'm saying? So it really helps with that. Or even like as far as the garden, over the summer, there was a lot of stuff growing and it was a lot to keep up with. It got to a certain point, so I made a point where I was in the garden every day, but I was looking at certain plants every other day. So I come in Monday, I check my peas and my tomatoes, and then Tuesday I'd come in and then I'd check my beans and my lettuces, you know, and then I just kind of flip-flop back and forth. You know, that way I'm always in the garden doing stuff, but I'm not stuck doing the same things over and over again, or I'm not overlooking certain things, or I'm not getting stuck in that rut where I'm forgetting to do other things. So it's kind of nice to have that balance. And then adapt for any situation and be prepared. It's hard to expect everything that could happen, that could potentially happen, but the best thing we can do is to be as prepared as we can be, not doing anything is not being prepared. Doing something is being prepared for anything. And being able to adapt. Being able to adapt is a big thing that we've learned too, because anything, like I said, can go wrong. And instead of just freaking out and panicking, you need to like just take a second, assess the situation, and be able to adapt to it to make it through. Because panicking and freaking out is just going to make it worse and probably make it just that much harder for everyone else or you to figure it out. So. And then, let's see, being patient, that is also a big thing as well. Like I said, with the animals I want to get eventually, got to be patient, as eager as I am. Definitely a learning lesson as far as the garden goes. I should have just been patient instead of spending the money on the week supplies I bought. I should have just took the time, saved the money to get the supplies that I needed instead of that I thought I wanted. So, and obviously with a house, new appliances, new quirks, new routines, new systems. So things are, you know, kind of figuring itself out inside the house, which is pretty smooth now. We got it all pretty established. It was just that initial move in, you know, where things are gonna go, how are things gonna flow, where things, you know, gonna sit and stuff like that, or things are gonna get put back after they're done being used, or they're gonna be left out on the counter, just what have you, all sorts of stuff. Just little tedious things, you know, how it is with moving in a new house and establishing routines and stuff. So it all encompasses together to kind of build that bigger picture. But anyway, that's pretty much it as far as we learned. Definitely save money, but that's in any case. Anything can happen. As far as situationally, you want to adapt, but you also, like I said, that's part of the preparedness. Have some money stashed away or have some valuable resource. So when things are tight or things are not as available, you do have a resource that could maybe get you said things or get you certain items that you might need or require. So it's very important to have a valuable currency or a resource to get things. So alright, so that's what we learned. I know it's a lot, and that's why I have to write notes, because I'm just going to keep going on in circles and it might not make sense. So, and I hope it does make sense. But what we didn't expect was, again, the weather. Weather was just, didn't really think about that. That's one of those things that I don't know if many people do think about when they move, especially within the same state, is how different the weather's gonna be. Just mere hours apart too. But then, when we were planning on moving up here, we were kind of, you know, trying to get certain supplies, certain items, certain tools and stuff like that that we thought we would need being up north. And, we couldn't think of everything. There was quite a few things that we had to go out and purchase right off the bat, unfortunately. It sucks to have to go and do that, especially without having the proper resources or even being able to kind of think outside the box a little bit when it comes to doing that, because I would, not to say that I'm cheap or anything, but I'd rather, you know, save money where I can if I can, so instead of just rushing to the store and spending it. So but we didn't really expect all the work on the land, like as far as the dead trees and stuff in the woods. I mean, we expected the gardening, you know, if we had animals, we expected that kind of work, you know, typical lawn work and stuff like that. But we didn't expect the amount of just congestion there was with these trees in here, to where they all really grew up very leggy, pencily, and then with it being so tight, they're very weak in there, and when you get really bad windstorms, those weak trees break and they fall, and there's just so much of that in there, so much debris. It's very hard to walk through there. It's very hard for wildlife to come through. It's very hard for things to grow, like ground cover and stuff. So we didn't realize how extensive that amount of work's gonna be. So it's this project, I say project, it's gonna take quite a few years. We're definitely making a good portion of it. The past year and a half of being here, we've taken down quite a bit of trees, actually cleared out some good amount of space, so I'd say we've gotten a good jump start on it. So for our first year and a half, we've really done a lot. It's just so much that it's hard to keep track of, but it does definitely all add up for sure. We didn't expect all the potential plans for the land. At least for me, I planned, like the hobby farm idea, kind of concept, homesteading and all that fun stuff, but everyone else, after being here and opening up possibilities and the potential, especially with clearing out these trees, we've all kind of are starting to hatch new ideas for maybe like little settlements or little deer blinds, things like that, maybe even plots, food plots and stuff like that. So there's all these endless possibilities. It's just a matter of putting them to work and having the means to do so. So like I said, these are all plans, these are all ideas just up in the air. It's just a matter of setting them in stone and making them go into effect. One thing we did not expect, actually, the amount of gravel we needed. We didn't really think about that. That's kind of another one of those like hindsight is 2020 kind of thing where we didn't think much of the gravel, so we had to re-gravel our driveway and parking spots and all that stuff, but it didn't take us too long, maybe Corey and I a couple days to actually hand spread it, so it was back-breaking work, but we definitely got her done. And it looks pretty good, actually. Not too bad, if I do say so myself, for a first time spreading gravel by hand. So I'm pretty impressed. But then, actually, believe it or not, being from the city, we definitely did not expect how kind and helpful people are up here. None whatsoever. I thought people would kind of look at us kind of funny for being from the city and stuff, and but no, a lot of people are very welcoming, very open, very honest, and very just very nice all around, very welcoming. Met so many great people up here already. A lot of people I do consider friends, and a lot of people I do hope to have around, because I do think that they are genuinely good people, and just so lucky to have been able to meet them, because I know how hard it is to meet new people nowadays, and especially like-minded people or people that do get along or don't let certain differences get in the way. So very fortunate for that, very am. But that is pretty much it in a nutshell of what's been going on this year. I know I've kind of spewed out a lot of stuff. I'm sorry if it was kind of rambly. Tried really hard not to be rambly, but my face is getting cold. My lips are kind of getting numb a little bit, but I do want to just kind of jot through a couple more things real quick before I let you guys go. Just a quick run through, because I'm going to do a separate video on our New Year's plans, what we plan on for the year 2024. But just for a quick run through, we're definitely going to keep gardening, so don't worry about that. I hope to expand on the garden, not the main crop garden, but just gardening space in general. Hope to have a couple more garden beds, have a variety of herbs and flowers and stuff. Actually, I will mention it now. Next year, I do hope to be the year of the herbs. 2023 was just the year of the garden. Next year, 2024, I officially deem the year of the herbs, because I've been actually diving into an herbal class and a few herbal classes actually. I've been really researching medicinal herbs and all their benefits and stuff like that, and I have kind of started a little mini series on the YouTube channel, my plant walk series, where I kind of talked about some herbs and stuff and their culinary or medicinal benefits and stuff like that. And I'd like to learn more about it and dive a little deeper into that, because I find it absolutely fascinating, and I would like to learn along with you guys, if not teach you guys on some things that I've learned, and just ways to benefit from all that fun stuff, because it's all stuff that's literally right in our backyard. So why not use it? Why not appreciate it for what it is and why it's there. So anyway, we're going to be gardening. I plan on creating some compost systems. I'll get more in depth with that next season, probably when spring rolls around. But I do plan on expanding more on composting and certain systems I want to set in place for that. Wood chip pile. We do have a nice wood chip pile. I'd like to expand on that. Actually, might move it to a different spot. We will see. That has to depend on another project that we have planned in the next few years or so. We'll have to see how that is. Again, a lot of moving parts here on the homestead. We have a few building projects. We plan to, hopefully we get to them. One of them is to build some deer blinds on the property. That way we can have a more secure and stationary spot to hunt from, and several different options at that. I did mention possibly chickens, but I want to get everything established first before I just bring the chickens. You know, I want to find my research, learn my stuff, get my supplies ready before I get the actual chickens. So the idea is to maybe get the supplies for a chicken coop, if not build it this summer to have chickens for the following year of 2025. I know it's a lot, we'll see. But then another for sure project is to build our shed into a greenhouse. I'm really, really excited for it. I'm saving up for it, but it's really bright. But you see our shed? You see how the sun is actually shining on it really nicely. Actually, this is perfect. And we plan to take the roof essentially, put the see-through panels on it, and build our greenhouse that way. So I'm excited. Hopefully we get to it. Hopefully it all works out. And hopefully we don't lose out on a shed if it doesn't. So we'll see there. And then, like I said, plan for chickens. I need to do my research. I want to figure out what kind of egg layers I want, the breed, all that fun stuff, especially for being in northern Wisconsin. I'd hate to get a very sensitive or fragile breed that can't handle the harsh winters we could have whenever we do have them. So, but the extreme colds for sure, because it is pretty cold, I'd say. And more preserving. I said it earlier, I hope to bring you guys around for preserving more. Want to do a lot more preserving, show you guys what I preserve, how I preserve them, all that fun stuff. Because I know some people prefer freezing over canning, some people prefer canning over dehydrating, yada yada yada. So certain things I like to do certain ways, and then certain things I'll do differently based on the amount I have and all that fun stuff. So we'll go more into that obviously next year. But amongst all the gardening and cutting down dead trees and stuff, Corey managed to build a really nice wood shed to keep our firewood nice and dry and protected from the snow and the wind and all that stuff. I think I've posted some pictures on it on our social media, so if you don't follow us there, also go check us out on Instagram and TikTok. We do have a Pinterest. I'm not very active on it. I did think about starting a blog, but for me it's really hard to just sit down and put words on paper or type them. It really takes me some time to really think about what I want to say and stuff, and even here talking in front of the camera, I kind of jumble on my words and stuff, and like I said, I tend to ramble on and whatnot, so it's sometimes hard for me to focus and stay on point when I type. So I feel like videoing is a lot easier for me, even though I can just sit here and talk. But and that's another goal I have for next year as well, is also try and document as much as possible, try and vlog more. If I can't blog, I'd like to try and vlog just more of our journey, building our homestead and trying to be more self-sufficient and a little bit more self-reliant as well. So, and that's pretty much it for what we have planned in a nutshell. Again, I don't want to keep going into more and more details and spoiling things for you guys, but last but not least, I thought it'd be kind of neat, at least from my perspective, from doing this for a whole year now, I'd like to maybe provide some advice for others that are out there watching this video. To those who are thinking about moving, let me rephrase that. To those who may be thinking about moving into a homestead situation, or for those who are thinking of starting a new aspect of the homesteading life. Maybe you're not moving, maybe you're planning on putting in a garden, or maybe you're planning on getting chickens, or maybe you're planning on joining a co-op or something like that. Like maybe you're planning on, you know, your next step of your journey. The advice I'd like to offer, just from my experience, you know, I'm not a professional homesteader, but from my experience here, I'd like to say definitely plan your plan. Do your research and organize. So you want to make sure you know what you want to do. You want to set your garden? Perfect, that's fine. Make sure you plan your layout of your garden. How big is it going to be? How tall is it going to be? How much do you want to grow in it? What do you want to grow in it? Because certain things might prefer a raised bed versus in-ground, you know, certain things like that. Do you want trellising? You know, all sorts of things. What are your pests about? You need to really plan and research all those types of variables, whether the case may be, you know, chickens. What do your predator situation look like? How many chickens do you want? What kind of chickens do you want? You know, all sorts of things like that. The purpose of your chickens, dual, meat, or egg. You know, there's all sorts of variables that you need to consider and really map out before jumping into it. And that's kind of where I am as far as the chicken and animal situation. I need to really take note of where I want them, how many I want, what kind I need, the pests, the food, the watering situation. You know, it's 20 degrees right now. Water would freeze if I don't have a heat source for them, you know, things like that. So definitely plan your plan. Do your research, find out, you know, what makes a chicken tick, find out how late kale grows until, you know, really find out all that research, all your questions, answer them, you know. And that could take months, you know, to do that. It could take a year or so to plan that stuff out, especially if it's a big thing like you're moving, you know. And obviously observe. You want to observe your location. Like if you're gonna put in some chickens, or if you're gonna put in a garden, you want to observe your sunlight. You know, you don't want to put a garden in where there's no sun growing, or where it's going to flood out when it rains really big. Or same with chickens, for example. You know, you don't want to put them in a mud pit. You don't want to put them in the shade where they could potentially freeze and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things to think about and consider when it comes to planning and researching and organizing your thoughts. Another thing that the next two things, they all kind of coincide with each other, but save your money. You want to save that money for the supplies that you need for said garden bed materials or your chicken coop materials, whatever the case may be. I'm just using those two as an example, but if you are planning a big project or a big move or a big step or something new in the aspect of your life, could be anything. Doesn't even have to be homesteading. Plan, research, and organize those thoughts, but then also save your money so you are prepared to get the supplies you need when you make your move, or if it's something that needs to get constructed, make sure you have the supplies before constructing it. I'd hate to have something half built and you need a hinge or a bolt and you gotta stop halfway through to drive all the way to the store to get that one little thing, you know. It's always an inconvenience and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So save that money, gather your supplies, and your resources. You know, if you need to find a guy that supplies something, find that guy first before you need that thing, you know. Say like, I need windows for my greenhouse. Well, I better find a window guy now versus when everything's torn down and I need a window then, you know. So just little things like that. But so moving on to those who are already kind of in it, like me, or who've been doing it for a few years, I'd say maybe 5-10 years or so. Keep it up. You guys are doing it. You're doing the thing. It might not feel like it, but keep it up. You guys are rocking it, and you guys are setting the stage for us new homesteaders, or for the homesteaders that want to be homesteaders, those homesteaders at heart kind of people. You're definitely setting the stage. You guys are becoming role models, and it's just stick to the status quo. That's all I really gotta say. If things aren't working out, or if things seem hard at the time being, or you know, some things are struggling, like you're struggling with certain things over others, probably the best thing I could say is just take that break, you know, put it on pause, take a step back, and just reevaluate your situation, whatever that problem may be. Just kind of watch it do its thing, try to figure out that kink in the line, or you know, figure out that hiccup that keeps happening, or just take that break. Because sometimes when you're overworked and overwhelmed and just flustered with a certain thing, you become blind to the problem, and you just become annoyed with the issue itself. So being able to take a break, maybe take a step back, reevaluate the whole situation, you'd be able to find the problem, fix it, maybe even redo it entirely to make it work in your favor. You know, like the garden, for example. My garden here, I had it built out. It was nice. I mean, it was decent, but just not what I wanted. Just not the structure I really wanted. It wasn't strong enough for what I wanted it for. It wasn't going to work for growing food in all year round. And I had to, unfortunately, take that step back, take that winter, really observe everything, look outside every day, and put to mind what I wanted my garden to really be like, what I wanted it to do for me. So sometimes that's for everybody, needs to hear that. Just take that break, reevaluate, and keep pushing forward. Do not give up. And then I'd say get involved with your community if you haven't already. I know the first, like if you are like us, you've moved to a new area, you're starting fresh, new, clean slate. It's hard to establish yourselves and get out there, get connected. So we took the first year just to kind of establish ourselves, get ourselves situated, figured out. And then now we've been slowly but surely getting involved in our community, hanging out with friends, getting to know people, reaching out more. And that's a big thing, is reaching out, letting other people know that you're there as well as they are there for you. So that's a big thing. And I think a lot of people forget to do that, to remind each other that we're both here, instead of it feeling like it's a one-way thing. And then, like I said, for those that are thinking about doing it, just plan, observe, and save. Definitely. And research your questions, you know, get your information in order, and just keep striving. Stick to that status quo, because that's what it is. We're doing it. Keep it up. And then, if I do say my little bit of advice to the old timers or the veteran homesteaders who have been just doing it forever and a half, who have paved the way for us, who have been the actual role models, who are the founders of homesteading. I don't know, you could put it however you want, but those who have been doing it for a very, very, very long time, the one thing I'd have to say, well, I guess there's two things. Don't ever stop, because you guys are the role models. You guys are the ones that are leading the way for us to keep this lifestyle going, to keep these trends, keep these traditions alive. But then I'd also say, more importantly, is share your knowledge. Knowledge is power, but giving us your knowledge is encouraging us to continue this lifestyle. I have it written down here that your knowledge is the backbone of our society and everything we have. We need to encourage those interested to connect to the roots of our existence and bring back a new respect and appreciation for this lifestyle. big corporate farming has really sucked the appreciation and the respect out of what we do on a daily basis, what we do to provide the food, not only just food, but good quality, wholesome, healthy, nutritious food for our families, all the work and labor we do for the food to provide for not only our families, but for the livestock we raise, for our friends we help out with, for our local communities that we donate to, and for the co-ops that we contribute to as well. This is a lifestyle that has really been the backbone and the start of everything that we have now today, everything that we want, that we need as far as survival and life started on the farm. And we need to kind of maybe not all go back to that lifestyle, but really take a step back and appreciate where we started. So, all right, rant over. I'm done rambling. I appreciate you guys for watching, especially this long. I know it's been a lot of information. I hope it's something you guys are interested in hearing about. It's been a really nice journey just this year alone, and I'm really hoping the next years to come are just as great, if not better, and more prolific. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your patience and your time. And I really hope everyone else's year was a really good year overall, very successful. I hope everyone had a great holiday with family and loved ones. And I hope everyone has a great new year. Set those goals, plan ahead, and don't forget to research and save your money, everybody. Plan, plan, plan. So, but don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any other fun stuff we do and talk about here on the Homestead. Don't forget to comment, and don't forget to leave us a like. Thank you again. I can't say it enough. Thank you for watching, and everybody have a great day, great holiday, and a happy new year. Bye.